Hello, I am Bailey. I am currently training for my first national level comp, if you want to call it. That was a shit intro. For those who don't know me, I am Bailey. I'm 26 and I have just started training Strongman in the last 6 months. As a mum, it's hard for me to commit to a team or have other people rely on me. So I was really looking for a sport that was very individual, and the only person I had to go up for was myself. So I got into Strongman thanks to my partner, Michael. So he is incredible at the sport. He's been doing it for a long time. We never really spoke about me getting into the sport through him. He never tried to get me to do it or made me feel like I need to do it, which was really good. I just fell into it myself, just being at the competitions and talking to people and seeing the trainings and being around the gym. It was just something I wanted to try. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I would compete. I thought I'd just try it for fun here and there, and ended up signing up for a novice comp and loved it. I've got another competition in about 3 weeks, and then the comp that we are now training for is naturally aspirated in May next year. Because I'm so new in strongman, strongwoman, I'm just gonna say strongman, just it's easier that way. Because I'm so new in strongman, I never thought I would do this level of a competition in my first year of the sport. I don't come from a very big strength background. In the gym, I would just do my basic weights just to get through, not really focusing on building strength. So the past year has been a lot more strength focused. However, there's so far to still go. So much more room for improvement. Although in the last 6 months, I have pretty much doubled all of my weights than I had at the start. So we're on a really good moment. I'm loving the training, and the thought of a world qualifier kind of scares the crap out of me. In terms of if I was going there to qualify for worlds, that would be insane. For me, look, if that happens, absolutely incredible, right? I will be so beyond proud. But my goal with this comp is to support the natural side of the sport. And the best way to support the natural side of the sport is to get involved in that. I love that there's a natural pathway, especially watching Michael at comps as well. We found that naturally aspirated this year, the vibe of that comp was just next level. It was really good, really well run. I loved seeing the caliber of athletes there as well. So I knew just from watching Michael at this year's Naturally Aspirated that it was something I wanted to be involved in some regard, whether it was volunteering to help run the day or I didn't think I'd be competing. My goal with this comp is to see what I'm capable of. So for me, it's about the process rather than the outcome. So whatever happens on the day is what happens, and I might readjust my goals as we get closer to the comp. So I might reassess 2 months out, be like, so this is how far I've come in my prep so far. This is now my goal for the competition. But right now, being 6 months out and having the weights announced, and they are very far from what I'm doing at the moment, my goal is based on the process. I want to make these weekly vlogs showing my training, showing my food and my lifestyle and what goes into the background of it and my journey to the competition, rather than focusing on winning or focusing on this. I just want to try hitting the weights. That's all I want to try and do. So for me, it's actually going to be really fun because I'm not so focused on worlds or this or that, and that's amazing. And I might be that way next year. But for this year, my main point of focus is the experience. It's putting my name in the hat. It's putting myself out there. It's saying to the world that I want this and I'm going to work towards it, even if I'm not quite ready yet. I don't think you can ever be fully ready when you're making big jumps and leaps. So the fact that I'm willing to do it now and maybe not succeed to other people's standards, I think that says a lot. So this will be a weekly vlog type video, and if no one watches it, that's okay. So in terms of my training today, Michael and I went through the weight. When I first saw them, I was really disheartened as to the jump between where I am now and where I have to be in 6 months if I want to do well at this competition. It was for me then, I had 2 choices. I haven't registered yet. I haven't paid for my ticket. So my 2 choices were give up. You already posted about it. You're saying you're going. You could give up. You could walk away. or you could be committed to the process rather than an outcome on the day. So luckily I was at a women's health event the day that the weights got announced, and I was literally just listening to Caitlin tell us about the process rather than the outcome and being committed to that. So luckily everything works for a reason, everything happens for a reason. I was at the right place at the right time to see those weights, because immediately giving up wasn't actually an option. It wasn't actually something that came into my head of, oh, I'll just do it next year. No, I'm doing it. We'll see what happens. So I have never trained a couple of these events. I have never trained yoke, never done a yoke. I have also only done stones once. I did 1 stone over bar, which was a low bar. I think it was like only a meter high, maybe 1.2, but I doubt it. Low bar and very low stone, 30 kilo stone or something like that. And I hated it. So those are the 2 events that I'm like, oh shit, I actually have I'm starting from scratch. The next event that I was originally a bit is our log. So there's 3 logs. One's 40, one's 47 and a half, and 160 from memory. They're all on a 12-inch log. I have, the most I've lifted log-wise is 37 and a half on a comp day, and that was with a 6-inch log, like a tiny, it was basically a barbell kind of thing. And that was 7 and a half. So the log I normally train on, I think is an 8-inch from memory. And I have 35 on that most times. Today's training, I really wanted to try the 12-inch log, see how far we have to go, and from there we can get a plan. Same with yoke. I was just going to do the yoke. The yoke itself is 70, 75, and I just wanted to see if I could lift it up and walk with it before we go and put it up to 150 kilos. You know what I mean? So that was the first step for those 2. The other events is a deadlift, like ascending deadlift. It is a wagon wheel deadlift from memory. I have done 112.5 on a wagon wheel deadlift. It might have been at a higher like inch. It might be a little bit lower. But 112 and a varied to 120, 130, 140. So that was something as well that I immediately kind of got like, oh gosh, I was only deadlifting 50 kilos 6 months ago. So if I could get to 120, I'd be stoked, right? The other event is yoke Husafel carry. I've not done a Husafel carry before. I've watched a lot of it, but watching it and doing it is very different. That's pretty heavy. That's 6 kilos. I have not carried anything, sandbag, nothing, that height for distance. That was another one to do. I'm also still training for my KSS Turns 5 comp in 3 weeks. So today's training was about that. So the log for KSS is 40 kilos. I get 1 rep, and I think that's on a 8 or 10 inch log. I think it's 8 inch, the same as what I'm training on. So I knew I had to get to train that weight was the same. The other things I had to train today was monster dumbbell out at Naturally Aspirated. It was only at KSS. I trained axle during the week at my commercial gym. I deadlifted this week at my commercial gym, so I didn't have to do that today. So the only other event I didn't train today was Power Stairs and Farmers, which is fine because I'm comfortable with the weights. It's just about speed more than anything. So at the moment I am training for 2 comps, KSS over here, and then we've got Naturally Aspirated over here. So this vlog will follow the Naturally Aspirated side of things, but for the next 3 weeks. It also include KSS. KSS, I'm in an under 62.5 category, fine. And so then, yeah, Aspirated will be 57.5. No, 57 straight. With training today, I'll put straight into some yoke. So I did the empty yoke. As I said, I think it's about 70 to 75 kilos. And we weren't going for distance. It was just learning how to pick it up, how to walk with it. And I went back, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm tiny. You know, I see all these people do yoke and they've got such a build here, such a shelf that they just absorb the yoke. There's so much space between me and the yoke. What the heck? So that is the first thing I noticed. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm tiny. Like, I'm tiny. But that's fine. It moved well. It felt good. That was really cool to like go and be able to do that. We did a couple of sets of it. Comfortable with dropping weight next week to Michael's discretion. The other thing as well, Michael will be coaching me through this. A lot of people are like, oh, how do you go and your partner coach you? Is honestly the best person in the whole entire world. So it does not affect us in one bit. I need to learn to listen to him more. I trust his judgment more than anything. He knows what he's talking about and he's been there, done everything. Like, you know, he is really talking from experience and he explains things in a way that makes sense. Anyway, so we did yoke. We then moved on to some monster dumbbell. So with that, we warmed up as I normally do with a 10 kilo dumbbell and a 12.5. I try to do my warm up on both sides just so that one shoulder doesn't get jacked and the other one doesn't. But when it comes to actually doing monster dumbbell, I only do my right side at the moment anyway. So the dumbbell on its own, I think is about 17 and a half. Comp day weight is 18 kilos from memory. I have done more than that, but this is about doing the 3 reps. And then on the day of KSS, I'm talking, I will then have to do 2 axle and 1 log within a certain amount of time. So it's just getting those, because they feel great, let's rep out those monster dumbbells, get that really, really strong. So that's the shortest part of that medley. After monster dumbbell, I did some log. So we decided on log on the 8 inch. I'm going to say 8 inch. I might be wrong, but for me it's an 8 inch, whatever. On the blue log. And I didn't want to be told what weight was on the log. I think from memory, log is 25. We had a 2.5. So I think it might have been 32.5, which makes sense now that because it was actually pretty solid. So we were just focusing on my clean, getting it up over the belt and having that really strong press as well. That was really good. I felt really good. I didn't miss a rep with log today. That was a really good thing. Lately, I've been missing reps with log because I've just been trying to get the weight up. I know I have to hit 40, so it's like really stressing me. So to be able to have a session where it was, I hit every rep, beautiful, love it. So then I jumped in on Nick's log. So that 12 inch log, which is 37 kilos unloaded. So I said the most I've ever done on log is 37.5, and that was on a 6 inch log, like tiny little press. So to go 500 grams lighter than my heaviest I've ever lifted on a huge log that's like literally the size of me sideways was interesting. So I had Nick and Michael both watching and giving tips. Really appreciated that. Having more than one person sometimes, it just helps cover all bases. And so that was really, really beneficial. We'll add the videos in, but you know, sometimes had the clean okay. Yeah, under it, I need to lean back and I need to get comfortable with it. So I could clean it sometimes. And that's a great place to start. All I needed, my mentality, my mindset, is that I could at least clean it. And then we can work up from there, you know, like as long as you can work on the press, you can get under it. Okay. So for me, that was really good to kind of just go and do a session with that, have a few attempts and really helped kind of, this is actually going to be okay. And I'm really surprised myself. Cool. I will do less talking in next week's video because the talking will happen in the session. We'll film a little bit throughout the week what I'm doing, training, eating, lifestyle wise, and these things on Instagram as well. This will kind of in-depth training part of it, kind of show what's going into it. Now, Michael is competing in this competition as well. He won this year, the beautiful green trophy there. So he's going to compete. He feels great about this comp. I'll let him speak about whatever he wants to speak about with it, but it will be a really cool thing for us to do together. Love when I get to compete with him and watch him compete as well. So we're both really passionate about the natural avenue, and we think that it is just a great thing to have in Australia as an option. So yeah, so it's gonna now be kind of both of our main comp wise. So I do my comp in 3 weeks. Looking forward to seeing what I can do and looking back at this first video in 6 months time and being like, holy shit, she didn't even know that she was capable of this. Like, how great is that? And that's the main reason I want to film the whole thing. It's about the process. That is what it is. So I really hope that you guys want to come along for the ride. Yeah, the support out within Strongman so far has been next level, and I really want to continue with that and continue sharing. And people who aren't even in the sport, who are always reacting to the stuff that I'm posting and messaging me about it and talking to me about it, I freaking love it. So let's keep going with it. Let's keep riding the wave and just see how we go. I'm just here to see what I'm freaking capable of, and that's it.